you're born in Dover, back at Westwood. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So good. Yeah. Yes. Uh-oh. Karen.
Hello, pretty girl. Gonna sleep through this, girl?
And we should be able
into Shabbat, the bottom of page 10, you can join in the words Boli Kala, Boli Kala. We welcome the bride of Shabbat, and you can stay on those words or you can join the rest of the Hebrew. together on our courtyard. This is our second outdoor Shabbat service of the summer, maybe the first for some of you. Welcome back to some of you who've been traveling, and a special welcome to the Lukoff family, Lukoff-Klein family, extended family, who are here to celebrate baby naming tonight. So we'll introduce her a little bit later, really the star of our service. We'll get there in a moment. But just invite you to take a breath of fresh air, to take in the sounds and sights of nature. Based on my tracking, it's going to continue to get cooler. And as we'll enter into this holy time of Shabbat, it is an honor to invite Jane Lukoff to bring in our light by blessing our Shabbat candles. We're on page 2. Thank you, Jane. As our congregation knows, becoming a parent and grandparent is emotional, so that's a good thing. Well, speaking of which, before we continue with L'Chadodi, which is really bringing in the Bride of Shabbat, I want to, and L'Chadodi is also a song of welcome, I want to invite Viviana Rose to come join us, along with her parents, Genevieve and Patrick, so you guys can come on up here and bring her up.
They were just a bride.
And there she is wearing white, which is beautiful for Shabbat.
It is. You got it?
All right. Well, it is an honor to celebrate as a community and with your family as we welcome this new life into your family. And I'll start with these words of welcome. Brucha haba b'shem Adonai. May she who comes in the name of God be blessed. Blessed be all who have gathered for this sacred moment. Now, as our congregants at Beth David have seen, we have a nice ritual of welcoming baby girls with a symbolic foot washing. So let's see, since Patrick, you're holding her, I'm going to ask Genevieve, you can kind of dip the cloth here into the water. And as you're doing this, and you can dip some water on her feet, I'll just explain that in times of the Torah, washing one's feet is a sign of welcome and hospitality. And also, girls and women would especially gather at the well in biblical times. So this is especially a sign of welcoming girls. As usual, no tears, so that's good. Usually they like it. And I'm going to invite you now to recite this blessing as parents welcoming your child.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'zafanu l'halikshner b'vret shalom Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who calls us with mitzvot and commands us to bring our daughter into the covenant of the people of Israel.
Amen. And I know she's trying to talk to you. All right, well, it is now my honor to formally share her names, and we'll hear a little bit about the names as well. Our God and God of our mothers and fathers, sustain this child through her parents' loving care. Let her be known among the people of Israel by the name Davina Yona. Yes, that's you, Davina Yona. But Dina Patrick. And in the community as Viviana Rose, the daughter of Genevieve and Patrick. Let her name be a source of joy to her parents and inspire her to serve our people and all humankind. May this little one become great. All right, well, we're not done yet. I'm going to offer a threefold blessing for Davina Yona's future in Jewish community. Kashem Shenicha Salabri Kenti Kanes La Torah Ula Chupa Ula Maasim Tovim. You can switch if you want. As
the hyperventilating cry.
That's a good one. As she has entered into the covenant today, so too may she enter into a life of Torah, the blessing of Chuppah, the sacred canopy of marriage someday in the future, and most importantly, the practice of good deeds. And we say Amen. So I'm going to invite you both to share a few other words of blessing, and then a blessing from the grandparents as well.
You want to come up here, Mom? Granny has the special love. Right? You go first and I'll just
Okay.
Yeah.
Viviana, we wish for a life full of learning. May you learn from books, from the people around you, and from the wonders of nature. We wish for you a life full of love, and we wish for the capacity both to give and receive love fully and wholeheartedly. We wish for you a life full of striving for justice, a life full of deeds of kindness, a life of concern for your community and for your fellow human beings.
Viviana, may you always stand firm and walk secure with the warmth of the earth, in your body and fire of the sun, and your spirit. We wish you the strength of the rock and mountains, the gentleness of grass and flowers with all their colors and fragrance. So many hormones. So vague after 2 months. May you feel the joy of the wind as it moves through the fields of grain and tosses the branches of trees in the forest.
All right. And we're going to invite Marshall and Jane, members of our community here, and very proud grandparents, to offer one more blessing.
We are grateful for new beginnings. Hey, honey, she's fine. She's exercising. I'm an exerciser. We are grateful for new beginnings, for the bond of a new life that links one generation to another. Thankful for the blessings of family, for the love and care that brings meaning and happiness to our lives. We rejoice with our children at the birth of their daughter or granddaughter. May they grow together as a family in health and strength and harmony, wisdom and love. A home filled with words of Torah and acts of kindness.
Amen. And since it seems like Viviana wants to sing, we're going to invite everyone to sing the blessing of Shehachianu together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehachianu v'kimanu v'kiyanu. Adonai, our God, sovereign in the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and brought us to this joyful moment. And you guys can get this later. We have a few gifts. I always have to show this. So first, I got my name for Temple Beth David and your official naming certificate. I know you just signed presents. That's right. So everything is written in there, and Viviana is almost 2 months old, right?
Almost
2 months old. So I'm going to offer, so actually, well, now that we'll just maybe do this together. So I'm going to invite you to do a little circle huddle here. We're just going to kind of gather around Viviana. And last blessing before we send you down to your seats, a little mazel tov, is a priestly blessing. And this is a blessing we hope she will hear at many joyful moments to come. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yiza Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you always. May God's presence be with you and God's light shine through you. May God's face be lifted toward yours. When you look into each other's faces, may you always see the light of holiness. And may you be blessed with shalom, with peace, a little quiet, and some nights of sleep. Amen. Mazel tov. We're going to sing you down to your seats. Verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 on the last verse. If you're able, you're welcome to stand, rise, face the trees to bring in the bride of Shabbat. And since I received a little critique on how I introduce all the different musicians who join us, but not Rabbi Micah is back with us. So now, in case you don't know who he is, please add your voices with ours.
Shabbat
26 for Chatzi Kaddish and our call to prayer. Yitkata v'yikara shemei rabba ve'amati v'achurtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayecha u'vyom echod u'chayidechol beit Yisrael V'agala v'agala u'bizman kariv v'yimeru amen Yehish mirabba mevorach le'olam le'elmaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromah v'yitkaseh v'yitkadar v'yitaleh v'yitalah shemei l'kedusha brichu Laila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata namira me'alma v'yimeru amen. Page 28. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Let's join together on the top of page 31 our blessing for creation. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv arachim. Let's join in the English of Ahavat Olam, page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam. Please be seated. We'll continue with the words from Torah, page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitecha b'beitecha u'lachtecha b'derech u'shofbecha u'vkumecha u'shartam le'ot al yadecha ve'ayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Amen. These words remind us to teach our tradition to our children, to the next generation, and never too early to start. So I always say there's no crying on Shabbat, but it takes a little while to learn that, so she'll get there. We'll continue with our Song of the Sea, our Song of Redemption, Mi Chamocha, on page 40.
We wake up in the morning, the sun comes up, we go about our day, and somehow before we know it, we're looking at the sunset. And if we don't stop and pause and take note, our days just seem to fly by. So in the evening, we ask for God to help us to lie down for sleep, for a night of peace. So this is kind of like a tucking in prayer for us to acknowledge where we've been, and with God's strength to wake up for a new day of life in the morning. You can find the words on page 42, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom. There's some English words that will add, I'll help prompt you with those words. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom, L'Shalom.
Shabbat. In 6 days God made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. So too we get to refresh and rest. Page 44. are you, Adonai, the holy God. We'll take a few moments for our silent prayer, and feel free to be seated when you are ready. Come back together for the prayer for peace on page 60. Turn now to page 253 for our prayer for health and healing. We take this moment in our service to especially call to mind loved ones who are ill at this time as we pray for their healing and strength. We are especially praying for Colin Monroe, Ingmar Bataviva, Maddie Linda Walter, Guy Ben Rita, David Ben Marcel, Enrico Mascaro, Annette Zarapian, Benjamin Horowitz, Bradley Dichter, Mateo Goldman, Hestia Mishkovskaya, Eileen Arnone, Jean Sands, Tom Fiorino, Jerry Spingarn, Beth Gottlieb, Joseph Sands, Ethel Sherinow, Rhea Rebecca, Peter Lawrence, Sarah David Yosefia, Herb Kuferschmidt, Linda Asher, Rosalind Slivka, Yonatan son of Anna, Peggy Monroe, Arlene Altman, Bonnie Schulkin, Ann Heller, Vera Bapaviva, Joanne Walker. What other names that you are thinking of, you can share them with us. Shabbat Shalom. Hopefully, like me, many of you are finding ways to take advantage of the quieter and longer summer days to perhaps enjoy some summer reading. I usually make a list of books that I hope to get through over the summer, both for pleasure and, dare I say it, possibly some high holiday sermon material. Maybe you'll share with each other during our oneg after the service what you are reading this summer. Jews are known for being called the people of the book, mainly because of our long chain of Jewish tradition that has been passed along as stories and values, laws and lessons, texts and commentary, interpretation and debate. This book, or this chain, continues down to us today as Jewish tradition encourages us to spiritually and ethically evolve and add our voices. This Shabbat, we get a glimpse into the Torah as both a product of its times and as a living document. You could say a midrash on itself. As we near the end of the book of Numbers, the fourth book of the Torah, Moses conducts yet another census of the people, anticipating the time when they will soon inherit the land of Israel. By they, the Torah, of course, meant men. In this week's parasha, 5 sisters, the daughters of Zelophehad, come before Moses to request their right to inherit their father's portion of the promised land. Their father died and they had no brothers. They ask, should our father's name be lost to his clan because he had no son? Give us a holding among our father's kinsmen. Their status as orphans and unmarried women made them particularly vulnerable in society. Moses, not sure how to respond, brings the case before God, who responds affirmatively. The plea of Zelophehad's daughters is just: transfer their father's share to them. Not only is this a feminist victory, moreover, God tells Moses to amend the inheritance law so that in other cases in the future, when a man has no son, his daughter or daughters will be first in line to inherit. In other words, as Rabbi Leah Berkowitz teaches, the purpose of this passage is not only to correct the injustice toward these 5 women, it is to preserve a record of the process of adapting divine law to respond to emerging circumstances. It is interesting that Parashat Pinchas often occurs around the 4th of July, a time when we Americans are hopefully thinking about independence, equality, freedom, in addition to, of course, barbecues and parades. In this week's New York Times, Jill Lepore, professor of history at Harvard University, writes the following: every 4th of July, Americans celebrate independence, but it might be more significant to celebrate amendment, the writing, ratifying, and especially amending of constitutions. Especially lately, she writes, there hasn't been much to celebrate, with amendment having become a lost art. And a constitution that can no longer be amended is dead. This 4th of July, the Amendments Project, a research collaborative directed by Lepore, is publishing a vast new collection of past proposals, a free and searchable archive of every notable attempted amendment. The archive especially reflects voices of minorities and calls for change and progress throughout our history. Her hope is that the record will defy the idea that all change must be rooted in the past, and her hope is that the Supreme Court justices will have a lot of reading to do into a richer, broader, and better American history. As we read in our Torah about the right to protest, amend, and adapt, and as requested by Dan Weller last Shabbat, I want to highlight the Reform movement's responses and perspectives on the recent Supreme Court decisions. You can find the full response of the Reform movement by going to ccrnet.org and go to Rabbinic Voice and Resolutions, where you can read the full statements. In summary, the Reform movement of Judaism issued last week 2 statements condemning the Supreme Court's decision, one allowing business owners to use personal beliefs as a justification for discriminating against LGBTQ plus people, and the second condemning the Supreme Court's ruling striking down affirmative action policies in universities. They also issued last week a statement celebrating the court's affirmation of the role of state judicial review in election regulation. The statements in their fuller writing speak to Jewish values around LGBTQ plus equality, countering ongoing systemic racial injustice in our country, and voter rights, including the proud recognition that portions of the Voters' Right Act of 1965 were drafted in the Reform Movement's Religious Action Center conference room in Washington, D.C. Whatever your opinions are on these recent Supreme Court's decisions, I want to affirm that Judaism especially believes in evolution and change, especially when it comes to the rights of minorities and marginalized people. To return to the Daughters of Zelophehad, the Women's Torah commentary offers this final thought. This week's Torah portion sets the stage for processes of change, showing us that even within the Torah itself, lawmaking is an inexact science, requiring flexibility to change as issues arise and society evolves. We honor our sisters' ability to speak up and their grace to concede when their gain is shown to be against community interests. We are the inheritors of their chutzpah and their quest for equal rights. When continuing to speak out today, we ensure that the 5 daughters, Machla, Noah, Hogla, Milka, and Tirzah, will be remembered and that their legacy lives on. Shabbat Shalom. You'll have to report back to Dan. Before we conclude for this Shabbat, just a few very brief announcements. First, you're welcome to join our Layla meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the library, being led by Temple member Rich Lustig. And you can check out your weekly shofar email coming up for other things going on in our community. While it might seem a little bit of a lighter time for programming, I will share that our Shalom Corner Early Learning Center summer program is starting on Monday, so there will be lots of little kids back here. And our new executive director, Jesse Sarati, is starting this week as well. Monday is his first day. You know, let's give him a little space to settle in before really bombarding him with lots of questions and requests. But certainly you are most welcome to come by, say hello, offer him a welcome. There will be a Shabbat service welcoming him later in the summer. Next Friday night, Rabbi Emeritus Hang Zhu will be leading the Shabbat service Friday evening at 6:30. The service will be inside next Friday. That has been decided already. Following that, check the weather. We'll continue to be outdoors. And thank you in advance to Rabbi Zhu, who is giving us a nice week of vacation away. Few other thank yous. Dawn and Barbara Asetta for ushering tonight and setting up our Oneg. Bonnie Willens for greeting us. And the Lukoff family for hosting our Oneg, sponsoring our Oneg this evening in honor of your new granddaughter. Perhaps she's sleeping now? Yeah. Eating, okay. Things get better when she can actually eat the cookies. So. But it goes fast, so day at a time. Thank you again for sponsoring our Oneg, and we'll look forward to greeting one another and celebrating. Welcome to your family here from lots of different places, Texas. Anyone from London? England, yes, welcome. You just got in. And of course to our Temple family for making up our minyan as well this evening. You can find Aleinu Shabbat on page 282. If you're able, please rise.
Aleinu Shabbat Ladon Hakol Latekilam Yosef Brishit Shelo Asayu Kirye Haratzot Velo Samaru Kishmot Adama Shelo Samchem Kinu Kahem Vegor Aleinu Kechol Amonam Vanachnu Korim Unishtachavim Uodim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'ne'emar Hayah Adonai Lemelech Al Kol Haaretz Bayom Hahu Bayom Hahu Yeh Adonai Echad Ushemo 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 Echad.
The words of the poet Hannah Senesh, there are stars up above so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we loved, their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest nights, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We are especially remembering these members of our Temple family who have passed away in recent weeks. Dr. Lovemore Mabigi, friend of Mark Albion, and Jacqueline Grosowski, mother of Andrew Grosowski, mother-in-law of Linda Ross. And we are remembering these loved ones whose yahrzeit, whose anniversary of death occurred this Shabbat. Samuel Adelson, William I. Birchie, Norma Grossman, Stella Hoch, Phyllis LeBlanc, Herman Lubens, Betty Lowy Lustig, Jean Mills, Jane Einstein, Reba Oppenheim, Edward Sargon, Beatrice Shee, Mary Siegel, William Siegel, Max St. Clair, Goldie Strider. If there are other names you are remembering, you may share them with us. Turn to page 294 for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikara shemei rabah, ve'alma tivrach v'yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabah m'vorach le'olam u'lamei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitraseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei t'gusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shala rama min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Before we offer our concluding song, we're going to join in the blessings of Kiddush and Mosi out here. You can turn back to page 5. And food and beverage is right behind you. We're going to open these doors so you can share in Oneg inside if you prefer. There's a room right next door with some tables and chairs, or you can bring things back out to the courtyard, whatever works for you.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, ve'ahava u'ratzon Kulanu, Zikaron Lamase Bereshit, Ki Hu Yom Tefillah Lemikrai Kodesh, Zecher Yitziat Mitzrayim, Ki Banu V'chata Be'otanu Kirasha, Mikol Ha'amim, V'Shabbat Koshecha Be'ahava U'ratzon, Kinchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Chaim. Join in Motzi and Paula for everyone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lecha min haaretz, Shabbat Shalom. All right, and per request from the Lukoff family, we're going to join in Adonallah to conclude on page 321.
Adonai, Hashem Eloheinu, V'zerah Zikra
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.